Let's start off this very evening with some breaking news. As we would have it, it's a sad story, but I understand that new army recruits that one would find, and as well a female soldier have been abducted. The female soldier abducted by Boko Haram, while 7 new army recruits have been killed by Boko Haram insurgents. Well, according to this, an army officer and self-defense commander says Boko Haram insurgents have ambushed a convoy of new recruits in northeast Nigeria, killing 7 troops and abducting a female soldier. Well, this story, they said, happened very close to Mafa town, the main road, 50 kilometers east of Maiduguri area of the country. And well, the northeastern city is the birthplace of Boko Haram, and the struggle for its redemption continues. And one can only say the 7 years war against Boko Haram has lasted for some time now, and comfortably one can say 20,000 people, just to read out very fresh numbers, at least have been displaced, with some others being killed in that same region. Well, sad story, building up there. 7 Nigerian army officers killed, 1 female soldier abducted in fresh attack. Now, other stories you would find interesting is the fact that the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, yes, they did meet with the likes of the acting president, Oshibajo, Professor Oshibajo. And in fact, they even did go on to brag about the fact that in their own protests, they were met with some response, presidential response, response from the likes of the Minister of Employment, Labour, well, Chris Ngige was available for them. And as well, the acting president, Professor Oshibajo, was also available to respond to their protests. And they even went on gagging about the fact that, well, their protest was good enough, got response, adequate response from the federal government compared to two-faced response. I was sad when I heard somebody say that, and I said, since when did protesting become some sort of competition? It's a shameful thing to think that anybody out there who says, oh, the needs of Nigerians need to be brought forward and be communicated once again to the government, will just for a moment say, well, the two-faced contest did not get the type of presidential response. That the best they got was the loud and clear response that did come from Professor Oshibajo. It's really mind-boggling to just start to imagine that somebody would believe to the prime moment in which they were able to send a message to the government and say, well, the protest was almost like a contest. Sadly, it just belittles everything. But however, aside that, which I found quite out of place, 18-point agenda was part of the demands that the labor movement did make to the acting president. 18 points. They had some very interesting ideas. They talked about anti-corruption in the land. They said, well, what they want is that the fight against corruption, no sacred cows, and the fight against corruption, as one would find from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, and many other guys that are in charge of anti-graft should live up to their expectation and fight crime in the most meaningful way. Well, the protest actually started off in Unity Fountain in Abuja, and it did go on all the way through to meet the president. They were led by President of the NLC, Comrade Ayuba Wahab, who made things clear as regards how they see things. For example, they talked about the fact that we're serious in the fight against corruption, that $22 billion was not remitted to the Federation account from sale of oil and gas at some point in time. He therefore advised the government to come hard on looters of the treasury and come forward. His words pretty much were simple. He went, we must not allow a situation where few, because of their interest, will hold the system to ransom. We're demanding increase in electricity supply. They say there's lag, more tariff. We're demanding increase in minimum wage. Yeah, okay. And they said we're demanding payment to percentage. Then he goes on to say, why should somebody steal 1 billion naira and walk the streets free? We're demanding they should be named and shamed. Oh, wait, hold on for a moment. Now, there's a book, there's some book in some country in Europe, and it's called like a shaming book. Now, that book essentially has like it's flipping it around. It's like saying the Guinness Book of Records for looters. Yes, there's a book in Europe that names and shames looters of funds of government around the world. My guess is this is what they are ascribing to, and they're saying, oh, government of Nigeria should actually take this up and say, well, let's name and shame them. That's something I'm wondering. Maybe that should be done or not done, or whether we should stick with the idea of anti-corruption courts and verdicts and the rest of things. Will keep things going very fast or fast enough. Who knows how it will be? But naming and shaming, I don't know, but I really feel if they get the conviction, it's already in the papers, so it's somewhere in the public domain. With the internet, you could find anybody who has been convicted for some time, unless somebody chooses to compile these names and says, oh, okay, besides any other thing that you do, if somebody has been convicted, it cannot run for office anymore. So naming and shaming, would you want to see Luther's name all listed number 1, Waye, 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 number 2, Ngunu, Gunu, Gunu, number 3, Aya, 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 something like that, would naming and shaming carry weight at the end of the day? Well, that's some of the demands that the NLC alongside with the TUC are asking for. They also mentioned the fact that salaries and pensions that are not being paid, anybody who owes salaries and pensions and who has not given any cogent reason for this should be treated in some sort of criminal way. It's almost like saying if a governor cannot come up or doesn't obey the instruction on bailout funds and how the funds should be disseminated, then it should be criminalized. I really trying to wrap my head around that one, how that will work. To a large extent, you have to have the money to pay before you're able to pay, and then some other parts of the ordeal takes over to a large extent. Many of you would agree with me on that one. All right, so many other parts they did raise. 18-point agenda. They talked about transparency. They talked about rule of law. That's something that's interesting. Rule of law. They talked about accountability. They talked about absence of good governance, which they say they want done. Now, they went on and on and on, and to explain. Now, that's on the NLC part. But on the TUC part as well, Comrade Bobai Kegama also took out time to explain a little bit more as regards how things could possibly be done. He said we must end corruption in this country and support good governance. It is only in Nigeria that corrupt people are being celebrated. We want to tell the world that we are insisting that corruption must be fought to a standstill. Now, by the way, we're talking about corruption in a short while. I will tell you why this story in itself is a big story. It's about the ex-NNPC boss. He sat for 2 years. Just 2 years. Okay, don't let me get ahead of myself. I'll break it down for you. You'll see the pictures, by the way, for those of you who already were on Facebook. You see the pictures of what I'm talking about in a short while. So the NLC met with the acting president, and the conversation was interesting. Let me play a summary of a part of the conversation and how it went down just a few days ago.
Be made to declare their assets before assuming office, and where they don't do this, it should be forfeited, and many other issues that we think will actually support the issue of good governance. We also want the fight against corruption actually to go down the ladder.
Corruption does not end with Naira and Kobo. Corruption in the way we run government, corruption in the way we run our homes, corruption in the way we run our institutions, and corruption in our personal attitudes to life.
We find people who are saying, he's from our town, he's one of us, leave him alone. That's what we get. Orchestrated campaigns by corrupt people who have been caught, who are on trial, to make sure that they diminish the impact of what is going on. Even delays in trials, and a lot of the delays in trials, a lot of attempts by people who have been trying to delay trials is also part of the campaign.
So that would have to be just a summary of a little bit of the reaction. I guess the acting president agreed, or they agreed with the acting president on a lot of part of the subject. And one of the other key things they raised and used as an example in that conversation is the fact that they say, for example, in United States, it's $15 per hour. In Switzerland, it's $18 per hour, while their demands remain 56,000 naira, and they wonder how that is just not feasible to be done soon enough. Okay, so that's one way of going regarding corruption. Now, before we come back to the subject of corruption, let me also say the Ekiti State Governor, who is also the group head for the governors for the PDP on the PDP platform, that's the People's Democratic Party platform, has been speaking about the concerns he has about the health of the president. And, well, here's how he puts it. Let me share this with you very quickly.
The presidency owes Nigeria information. Nigerians asking after the president are right. And because the moment you assume such an office of the president, your life is no more private. So they should let Nigerians have information about the whereabouts of the president. At the same time, Nigerians too should be praying for the president. Should be praying for the president. Nobody has control over health challenges. The only thing that they are doing wrongly is hiding the facts from Nigerians. You cannot say I cannot be sick. But when I'm sick, because I am a public figure, I represent the interest of too many people. They must know where I am, what I'm doing, what's wrong. It is in the right of Nigerians to know.
And the statement is not too far-fetched from the one also made some few years ago, 6 years ago, by Minister Lai Mohammed when he spoke about the health challenges of late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, and asked that much of the details of his life or his medical experience be made known. So, well, it's not too far from that. Farage, of course, has been backing up a lot of his words with ideas, even the idea that he may run for president soon enough. He didn't say 2019, he just said soon enough. So he says it's in the interest of Nigerians to know what is going on with their president and how pretty much to keep things flowing and keep things going to a large extent. Anyway, that's on that subject. Now, the Minister of Agriculture has been speaking clearly regarding tomatoes, for example, and how things should go and how things can be better. Let me share what is line of thinking with you.
Now, tomato, only yesterday we passed a regulation that we're going to have to tax imported tomato paste, because NAFDAC gave us a report that 80% of the paste and puree coming in is unfit for human consumption. 80%. There are certain ingredients put in these pastes coming in which are actually harmful to health. We are also looking at the grinding machines in the markets and stores. Metal poisoning is increasing in our diet. There's a report by FIRO. We are going to introduce stainless steel food-grade processing machines for all the grains, the tomatoes, the onion grinding, and so on. Some of the strange diseases of liver and kidney you see today in hospitals have to do with the way we process our food.
So with the way we process our food and the way the food is pretty much turning up, tomato paste is not exactly one of the most friendly things that one would find. I remember the minister naming a couple of things not too long ago that he found quite interesting and may not just be good enough for Nigeria. The likes of sachet water was one of them. And at some point in time, he also talked about the popular... let me go with the name, we all know it as Pomo. It talked about it not being good enough. I guess tomato paste now joins the list in this interest. So we'll see what reformation. Remember, it's not, some of these speeches are on the sidelines of the tax force and what the food tax force has come to know and do. For example, transportation of food across the country. And now they're comfortable about the idea that if we can just get it right with importation or exportation, import or export, getting the policy around it right, then we may just be at that point where we are comfortable with the results that we are looking for. Yeah, all right, well, that's one way of going about it. Now, let's get down to something I found quite surprising. Not many times, I mean, I was speaking to someone today, I called the attention of Christy Palm, a good friend of mine, to the news about the ex-NNPC boss, who served for just how long now? 2 years, 2012, all the way to 2014. Well, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has elaborated on how its operatives stumbled on 9.8 million, get it right, not naira, dollars. Loot recovered from Andrew Yakubu, a former group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, earlier reported estimated the loot at 9.2 million, but no, it's actually 9.8. The commission said it recovered, follow the numbers now, 9,772,800. Now, feel free. There's a dollar sign that you need to add there. That's 9.7 or thereabout $1 million. The commission said a special operation conducted by its operative on the 3rd of February, that was just 7 days ago, on a building belonging to Yakubu in Kaduna yielded the staggering sum and another 74,000 pounds. And that's 74,000 pounds sterling cash. Now, Andrew Yakubu, ex-NNPC GMD, says loot was a gift by unknown person. Forgive me screaming. But the gift was, the gift was given by an unknown person. Like Louis is sitting not too far from me. I don't know Louis, but the gift was given by an unknown person. Gave, my blood pressure come together. Stay with me. 9,772,800 dollars. No, not naira. Dollars was given by an unknown person. Okay, let's. I mean, I'm a reasonable man. Let's reason along. The huge cash was found in a fireproof safe. Are we following the facts now? A fireproof safe. And by the way, the safe was looking good. The safe was down the earth. I saw pictures of it, many pictures of it. It's also available on Premium Times. But the picture of the cash is on my Facebook page right here, facebook.com/JFM Jones. You'll find my post for the evening there. And by the way, I'll put that up sometime soon also on my website, FemiDlive.com. Now, okay. So, the surprise raid of the facility was sequel to an intelligence which the commission received about suspected proceeds of crime believed to be hidden in the slums of Sabon Tasha area of Kaduna. Sabon Tasha is a poverty-stricken area of the capital. Are you with me? Where can I point you that it's not looking so nice in Jones and somewhere around that will be okay? I'm just trying to pick out somewhere that I can use. Okay, but slum, somewhere just not really tight. Yeah, slum area of Kaduna, Sabon Tasha. One Beatrice Yakubu, a younger brother to Andrew Yakubu, disclosed that both the house and the safe where the money was found belonged to his brother Andrew Yakubu. Yakubu, ex-NNPC GMD, hides $9.8 million loot in slum. Okay, so that's that on that. But, dear friends, or should I say dearly beloved, as I stepped into the studio, I decided to look around and almost as if it was not good enough or not nice enough to be feeling under pressure to say $9.8 million is the money. For some reason, I decided to get into the world of exchange rates. I said, how much, by the way, how much is even the dollar to the naira now? Or should I change the sentence? The naira to the dollar now. Okay. So, you need 506 naira to buy just $1. Feel free. Don't get tensed. You know where I'm going with this calculation. You may hate maths, but obviously we may go down there. I forgot to bring in my calculator. Yeah, okay, thanks, Louis. Okay, so 506 naira to $1. Now, carry 506 naira and comfortably multiply 506 naira against 9,772,800 naira. That's for the dollar. That's in dollars now. Let's leave the pound sterling for a moment. I'm not even sure what pound sterling exchange for anymore. Possibly very close to 600, if not over by now. Okay. Yeah, amazing Louis here. Is here in good time. Let's do this calculation, guys. The other one will serve better. Let's do the calculation very quickly. How much in naira can one say? I hope my calculator doesn't give up on me. But let's say 9,772,800. Yeah, that should come down. Times 506. This Okay, I'm just going to call out the numbers now. You get 4945036 So let's do the maths now. Comma, starting the comma part. Yeah. Okay. This should look like, if not billion, it should be trillion. Okay, if not billion, it should be trillion. In this regard. And the acting president made comments about anti-corruption, and one of the few things he said is the fact that people are lobbying to get off cases. Let's listen to what he said very quickly.
Those reforms are tied to payment of salaries at a time of the leanest purse that the federal government has had in very many years. One of the most important things about the interventions is that we know that we have to address the questions of unemployment. If you don't address the questions of unemployment, we can't even begin to say that people will have a decent or reasonable lifestyle. That's a major problem. Government needs the TUC, the NLC, the working classes, the civil society to speak up against corruption. We need them to speak up. Because if you look at what is going on, the campaigns that are going on, people are carrying on as if, well, you know, I mean, the kinds of comments you get sometimes, it's a witch hunt. Only these people are being punished. Only that is being punished. Hey, if the evidence points to you, you should not have the excuse that you are being witch hunted.
Okay, so that was the vice president. Oh, apparently I didn't even do a good job in multiplying this out. No, I didn't do a good job in multiplying this out. The numbers I have talks about, I can't even call this out. Can anybody help me out with these numbers? Okay, I'm just going to show. For those streaming, these are the numbers I see on my calculator right now. These are the numbers I see, like right now. These are the numbers that you get when you multiply 9,772,800. Even if you're trying to get visa to heaven. Even if you're trying to get visa to heaven. Should it even be conceived to be this expensive? I'm not even worried about the fact that I don't know what exactly I should be worried about, but I'm worried that I don't know what to worry about in this example. Is it the number of money, the value of the money that was found, or the conception that such amount of money was safely stored away in the earth, down below the earth, carefully, with a spending plan that could go around your lifetime 3-4 times? I mean, Andrew Yakubu, how old is he? I'm not judging him. I'm just starting to think, if he's 50-year-old and he has another 150 years, it would be a big boy, big man for 150 years with this type of cash. So how do you save this up? How does this work? Please tell me how people take money that is beyond their lifetime. How does this work? And bury it in the earth. How does this work? Can somebody help me with just to explain this to me this very evening? All right, I go on the break. When I do come back, I open up the phone lines. I want some